I will call the Government Oversight Committee meeting of March 9th to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is adoption of the agenda.
So moved by Nard.
Perna.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Perna. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, please vote.
Commissioner Perna, did your vote go through? No.
Okay.
Only
There we go.
once,
Motion
Commissioner.
passes
Only
10-0.
once. Did that motion pass?
10-0.
Thank you. Next item is approval of meeting minutes dated February 2nd, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Support Nard.
Motion by Commissioner Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any discussion on the approval of the meeting minutes? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item is our first of two public hearings. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak on agenda items. The ones that are up for interviews don't need to speak at this time. There's a max of 3 minutes. There will be a second opportunity for public participation after this. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Once? Twice? Close. Next is item 6, appointments. First is 6A, Jury Commission Circuit Court Bench Recommendation with board concurrence. We'll use this as a referral to the full board. It's Judge Dennis LeDuc, Jeannie Cloud, Court Administrator. I need a motion to refer to.
Support Perna.
Motion by Commissioner Grott, supported by Commissioner Perna. Any speakers on this motion? Is Commissioner Jeannie, you're here. You can come up and speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Jean Cloud. I'm the Deputy Court Administrator in Circuit Court, and we are here on the matter to have Judge Dennis LeDuc appointed as the third member of the Jury Commission. Due to the unfortunate passing of Judge Massaroni, who is one of the members of the jury board, we're in a position to need to fill that opening, to fill his term, which expires May 31st of 2016, or excuse me, 2026. And so the pursuant to statute, which I have supplied to the board, it's MCL 600.1301. The circuit court judges have made the recommendation of Judge Dennis LeDuc to be a member, and Judge LeDuc has filled out the application, and at this time we would love to have him as part of the jury board, and I'm here for any questions, or if not, that's all I have.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote to refer to full board.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item is 6B, Health Department Hearing Board. Department nominations with board concurrence, 2-year terms to expire December 31st, 2024. Citizen at large, Carol Thompson, alternate Dr. Donald Amboyer. Motion to refer to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support Lucido.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Carol Thompson, would you like to address the board?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carolyn Thomas. I'm the Child Nutrition Consultant for the Macomb Intermediate School District, and I work very closely with the Health Department's Environmental Division. And I've been appointed to this position 2 years prior by the Health Department Director, Andrew Cox, and he has invited me to stay on for another 2 years. I would be happy to answer any questions or talk about my background if you like, but I've been very extensively involved in food safety and sanitation, as well as overseeing all of our school nutrition operations in this county for the public schools and some of the charter schools. And of course, I'm the chief administrator for our special needs-based buildings as well. Thank you. I do want to thank him for this opportunity.
I want to thank you for your prior service as well. Seeing no speakers, thank you. Next is Dr. Donna Amboyer. I know I screwed up that last name, Doctor. I did the same thing last time.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Donald Amboyer, I've had the privilege of serving Macomb County since January 3, 1973. When I first began serving as a circuit court probation officer, and subsequent to that, I became the Macomb County Jail Administrator, and following that, I became the Vice Provost of Macomb Community College. But during that period of time, until the present, I've served as a volunteer on behalf of Macomb County in such capacity as being chairperson of the Macomb County Ethics Board for the past 11 years. I've also had the privilege of serving on the Health Department Board in the past. I would appreciate the opportunity to continue my service. Should there be any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your prior service.
Thank you, sir.
Seeing no speakers, please vote. You're all set.
Commissioner
Yes.
Pruitt, thank you. Motion passes 10-0.
He needs help over there.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is the Community Mental Health Board appointments, 4 vacancy, 3-year terms from April 1st, 2023 through March 31st, 2026. I need a motion to refer to full board. I have a motion by Commissioner Kraft, supported by Commissioner Nard. As we go through the discussion on these appointments to the board, as you come up and make your presentation, I would like each of the candidates to address 3 questions. And normally our chairman asks every candidate these 3 questions. So this time we're just going to put the 3 questions out there so he doesn't have to do that at any point. One of the questions is, what is one thing Macomb County CMH does well? Second question is, what is one thing Macomb County CMH can improve upon? And are you aware when the board meetings take place, and can you commit to attending regularly? So with that, our first candidate is Sandra Abissini. Oh, I was close.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. So I'm very interested in being appointed to this board. I'm a lifelong resident of Macomb. I've been born and raised here my whole life. I've spent most of my career in human resources, but in the past few years have turned my attention to mental health for many, many reasons. I have young children that grow up in the area. Even before the pandemic, it was something that just touched my heart, and I knew that I wanted to get involved. So I changed my career and quit that, and my husband and I are opening up mental health clinics in Macomb County. LE Mental Health is the name. We're opening one in Clinton Township next month. and a second and third Sterling Heights, St. Clair Shores. So I invested in this topic very much, financially, passionately, emotionally. I'm all in. Yeah, I still have a lot to learn about all of the things, but I'm there. I dive right in. Some of my qualifications are I've been in leadership for the last 20 years. I've been involved in all kinds of extracurricular activities, if you will, and I want to get more involved in our community. One of the things about LE Mental Health is we want to serve our community. We have the autonomy to have the services that we need to serve the diverse population that we have here in Macomb County. So I'm super excited about that. I just want to be a part of the solution. And yes, I can be here for all the meetings. I know when they are. You asked me what does this MH do well. I have been doing a lot of research on that, and there are a lot of resources that I didn't even know existed. Free resources to go on and take some quizzes, testing your own mental health, see where you might need some assistance. And I found a lot of great resources online that I've already how to improve my sleep, for example, that I've already started to dive into. In terms of what can be improved upon, I don't think that I have enough information personally to answer that question yet. So I'm there's probably something, but I want to make sure that access to care is available for everybody in our community who needs it. I have a special passion for children and first responders, but I want to make sure that anybody who needs care can get it, and that we are getting rid of the stigma around mental health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions? Seeing no speakers, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next on the list is J.J. Buccellato. Buccellato. Hi, J.J.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to address you this afternoon. My name is J.J. Buccellato, and let me first eliminate the elephant from the room. Probably all wondering what this is on my temple. It's an adhesive patch that protects my skin graft from skin cancer. It's about 30 years old. 7 years ago, I lost the top of my scalp to melanoma. That's the reason for now the hat being part of my wardrobe. I'm not looking for any sympathy whatsoever, but just to extend to anybody who is diagnosed or a member of your family with skin cancer to contact me, and I can share what I learned over the last 30 years so that a disfigurement like this doesn't happen to them. Personally about myself, because none of you, you don't know anything about me per se, unless you heard from somebody else, but I married my wonderful wife Agnes later in life, and she's a retired RN. We have 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren for us to spoil. And luckily with that, I didn't have to change any diapers. My community involvement over the last 50 years, just to name a few, when I was putting this together last night, I thought, boy, this is your life. I remember that TV program. But Lions Club, Italian American Cultural Society. I represented Macomb County on a small business association loan program. It was called the 504 back in the day. I served on Congressional Military Academy screening committees for high school students that were seeking to get in one of the 4 military academies. I was a member of the Smart Transportation Board. Been a Rotary Club president a couple times. Fundraising for American Cancer and Easter Seals. Been a condo board president in 2 different associations that I resided in. Was a member of the Sterling Heights Area Chamber, the Italian American Chamber of Commerce, and I've been a Fraternal Order of Police member. I'm in my 43rd year between the city of Sterling Heights and Shelby Township, where I now reside, totals to 43 years. My political involvement. I had a distinct honor of having been elected a council person in the city of Sterling Heights. Back in the day, when I was the youngest one ever elected, and still hold that record. Subsequent to that, I was elected to this honorable body and was surprised to see my photo in the lobby here. I was on the Board of Commissioners a number of years, and from that, as a member of that appointment, I had a couple terms on the Community Mental Health Board. So I'm familiar from back then as to the operations. Of course, I would need to get familiarized with the new personnel, because nobody is still there when I was. Professionally, I created and ran a successful small business for nearly 30 years that had Fortune 500 and Tier 1 suppliers as my valued clients. The goals that I have for Mental Health Board, if successfully being appointed, which addresses some of your questions, I'd like to focus on two key issues. And one of them is outreach programs to serve our children, especially those in junior and high school, that are suffering from, or to at least make them aware that there's services available to them, those that need assistance from the body shaming and the cyberbullying that takes place today. Number two, and for our senior citizens, especially those that have lost a spouse, where in that case, their anxiety fuels depression. I have the time, energy, and experience to offer to this position. I would ask each and every one of you for your vote personally at this time, and I respectfully ask for your vote, and you would not be disappointed. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, thank you very much. Next candidate is Nick Ciaramitaro. He's looking for reappointment. He will not be able to attend. I do know personally he broke his ankle and is in rehab. So he did send us all a communication. Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I will say that he's been a long-serving member of the Mental Health Board, as well as he's served considerable time in the legislature, and is very familiar with the board issues. And just from my experience, long experience on the board, he's been around a while, and he's not here unfortunately, but that was unavoidable. But I just will say that he's been a good representative on that board, I think, and Commissioner Kraft will agree. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we will move to Wayne Connor.
I was supposed to tell you guys I was coming today, but.
Well, that's okay, you're here.
Yep. Basically, I'm a Vietnam War veteran, and I work with the Air National Guard on family support. I'm the vice president. I've been the president of family support out of Southbridge. I've worked with military for over 40-some years. And basically, I'm really concerned about the military. There are 10 suicides a day. Now it's up to 45 veterans a day committing suicide. And I know there's services out there, and we have to find them for the veterans. And we have to help them. Plus, I serve on the Romeo School Board. A lot of suicides are coming in the teenagers and stuff like that. And we just need to reach out and help whoever we can help. And I would appreciate your vote, and I can make the meetings. I didn't have a big, long speech, but basically, I think you all have my resume in front of me. I've known Don for quite a while, so, yeah. I just appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no questions, next is Christopher Finn.
Hello, my name is Christopher Finn. Saw just recently that this position came available. My background, I'm a housing inspector throughout Macomb, Oakland counties. Did work throughout Metro and other counties as well for Section 8 and so on. In addition, I'm a defensive instructor. I specialize in conflict stress management. Over the years, I've come to find that the importance of stress management training in the now seems to be something that needs work. And as for in a policy that's not really out there that has a directive to that. So I'm hoping to see if I can help or participate in something and learn more as well as what the county does. I do like how the county offers the programs and has a lot of availability for things. On that, I can be available for during the week and make the 6 o'clock appointments. And hope I can be an asset.
Thank you.
That's where I stand. Thank you.
Seeing no questions, next is James Gammicchia. Bet you didn't think I'd get that one right. James works for the city of Roseville.
That's cheating, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jim Gammicchia. I do work for the city of Roseville. I thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for having me today. My qualifications, I included them in the board packet for you. I am a past patient and a full supporter of mental health treatment, a lifelong resident of Macomb, large breadth of community involvement. My entire career has been in public service. I currently work for the city of Roseville, formerly worked for the Charter Township of Shelby. The mental health crisis that we see today has only been exacerbated by COVID. And, you know, I heard about the veterans, the homeless, the drug and alcohol, LGBT, the schools, it's everywhere. And so my passion comes from not only being a patient and a supporter, but also to, you know, the number of people that I've seen that have lost that battle because of the stigma behind mental health, and whether they didn't have access, the right access, didn't want to have access because they just thought they'd be stigmatized in that manner. There's one is too many, and I've had more than one. One thing community mental health does well, lots of program, and their crisis management is fantastic. But I think, you know, the communication of those programs, the marketing, the outreach to the community and those different populations would be something that I would like to see improved. Happy to answer any questions, and again, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Jim. Seeing no questions, thank you. Next candidate is Laura Hall. Is Laura here? Okay, we will move on. Stacy Hickman Jackson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity to appear before you. I am Stacy Hickman Jackson, and I am here to request appointment on this board because I am passionate about mental health. I am a licensed school counselor with a deep background in mental health as I work with students and their families as they process daily life challenges as well as challenges that have enhanced all of that with COVID. I have been a resident of Macomb County for the last 13 years, and 10 of those years I've worked in Macomb County in that capacity. I have a background in clinical, having worked for Judson Center, and so I'm very familiar with Macomb Community Mental Health as the part of the referral process and receiving clients through that process. I'm well aware of the services that are offered now, and I strongly support the continued use of wraparound services for families as we still are dealing with the effects of COVID as we are processing through it. I'm not convinced that we're moving out of it, but we are definitely processing through it. And so as we do so, things continue to evolve and needs continue to need to be met. And so in terms of improving, I would just like to see the board continue to have a stable opportunity for families so that they can continue to receive the services that they do. I'm passionate about mental health because I have family members who have suffered, as well as myself, with depression in terms of some of the things that have gone on. And so I just want to be able to give back and be a part of this to continue what's been done in the past and just to continue moving forward. I am well aware when the meetings are and the times, and I'm available at that time. And so I just want to once again, thank you very much for this opportunity.
And thank you very much. Seeing no speakers, next one is Andrea Johnson. Is Andrea here? Okay, we'll move on. Pamela McMillan. We will move on. Julia Mohan. Welcome.
It's definitely my first time here. My name is Julia Moen. I am a outpatient therapist right now. I know that you guys probably all have my resume because I brought tons of copies. I graduated from SVSU with my Bachelor's of Social Work and then went on to the Advanced Standing Masters of Social Work. I graduated in the lovely May of 2020. So that was a blast. I've been an outpatient therapist for people that have one or multiple mental health diagnoses. I've been a crisis advocate for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. I've been an aide for those diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. Mental health is something that's extremely important to me. That's why I chose to make a living out of it. I see clients all day, every day for lots of different reasons. One of the main things that I see is people that are just going through life. And I want to make mental health services available for those that just need to process life, because sometimes life is hard to process. I love that Macomb County Community Mental Health has services available in order to help those that are just processing life and those that maybe aren't processing life the best. I would love to see more services available for preventing homelessness. We know that a lot of severe mental health leads to being on the street, having no home. I am available to attend every meeting on Wednesdays at 6. I do make my own schedule right now, so that helps. But one of the main things that I would just like to do being on the board is help fight the stigma. I know that that's pretty cliche, but my dad is actually the one who sent me this opportunity. And when I became a social worker, he was actually very against it. He didn't think that mental health was real and all of that fun stuff. So the fact that he supports my path in life now says a lot about what people are willing to change. So I would like to do that with a few more people, if possible.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, next is Selena Schmidt.
Good afternoon. I'm Selena Schmidt, and I am currently the Vice Chair of the Mental Health Board. I am seeking reappointment. I have been on this board for a while, and I've seen the good days and the bad days. What is the thing that we're the most proud of? 6 years ago when I came on this board, we were in chaos. We were solidly in the red. We didn't know how we were going to pay our bills. We were begging the state and the county for money. And in 6 years, with Commissioner Kraft as our chair, and with some key appointments on the board and new leadership, we have been able to turn it around. We were considered one of the worst CMHs in the state, and now we are considered one of the best. Our employees and even some of our board members are sought at from the state to speak on and to assist other CMHs. One of the things that I think that we can still improve on is we got the basics down. We have put new processes in place. We've turned our contracts around. We're really serving the people with the services that they need, not what we think that they need. But now is the time to be a little bit more innovative and to start look at crisis services, adolescents, our juvenile justice, and even our jail diversion. Those are some of the things that we have to start looking at. I am, on a personal side, I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I work for a very large health system and often care for the people that are being served by Macomb County in our emergency departments. I get to see what is working that we're doing for the county and what is not. And I am able to bring that back to the board where we can have really honest and frank discussions on where barriers are occurring and what we need to do to help change that. I am also the mom, which is what I'm most proud of, is I am the mom of a 26-year-old that I was told and asked if I wanted to terminate the pregnancy because they felt that he was going to be so severely handicapped. And I didn't, and he is a true success story of this county. At 3 weeks of age, we were told that he wouldn't make it past probably at about 10 at the time. He had severe seizures. He couldn't breathe on his own. He had complete systemic failure. And after that diagnosis, I got home and Macomb County swept in. And they managed that care to the point where he'll be 26 next week. He has graduated from Wayne State, and he is a true success story. So when I came on this board, I remembered what the county used to be, and I wanted to help bring that back. And so I continue to fight, and I enjoy what I do. And I still think that I have a lot of value that I can bring to this board. Thank you.
Thank you. For your information, yesterday we had a CMH presentation, and the pride of Macomb County was right in front of us making that presentation. And I'll take this opportunity to congratulate Chairman Kraft on the amount of effort and work that he does with this board. So thank you for what you do as well.
Thank you.
Next is Rodney Nathan Tolbert.
Good afternoon, Board of Commissioners, and thank you for having me come. I'm Dr. Rodney Tolbert. I am not a lifelong member of Macomb County. I've only been there 7 years. My wife brought me here from Texas. I am also the chaplain of 1st Battalion, 24th Marines Division, the Suffolk Air National Guard. I do CACO. I also work as the CNS Board of Directors. I'm also on the governance of the Board of Directors. I'm also a post-traumatic stress disorder veteran. I have TBI. And because of the mental health people that work with me, I'm able to stand before you and talk to you how good mental health is and how the people work in it. Because without their help, I may not be able to stand and talk to you today. I'm a Gulf War veteran. I also sit on the Macomb County Veterans Treatment Court. I sit on the Macomb County Veteran Action Collaborative. I am a lifelong member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. I work in Macomb County since the day I came here. And I have been also the past president of NAACP and the past vice chair of the Black Caucus here in Macomb County. So I'm just letting you know those are the few things that I do. And I do work with veterans all the time. But I am familiar with Mr. Kraft and all of the work that Macomb County has done to move forward into mental health. I really want to applaud you because you all have worked hard to move from where you were to where you are today. And I want to be part of that team that's moving forward, but also having the insight to look at what is going on with veterans. By the way, I am the pastor of Liberty Missionary Baptist Church, and most of my members are veterans that suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I know what it looks like, I know how to handle it, and I'm also a chaplain for Macomb County. So I thank you for your time and your patience, and I pray that God continue to bless each and every one of you.
Let me say thank you, Pastor, for your service. Next is Commissioner Antoinette Wallace. You can do it from there, unless you want to.
We need to see who you are.
We know who she is.
I should have been ready. Sorry. My name is Antoinette Wallace. I am 2 years in on the mental health board, and this is my 3rd year as a county commissioner. So I am reading this book it's called Who Not How, and it's about how you build based on the people that are in your group or business or your company. And it reminds me so much of the mental health board because we have people that work in the field, like Selena, and we have those that know legislation like the back of their hand, like Nick. And then there's me. I am a realtor. I would consider myself a counselor at times with the amount of times I help people, families in a vacant kitchen because they're arguing about the house that's not for them or may be for them. Either way, I counsel them. And then I give them the card to the mental health department because, of course, I don't know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, the board is filled with so many diverse people and diverse backgrounds, and that is what I love because so many like-minded people that have similar backgrounds will only know how to help or lead you to that group that they're used to or they're familiar with. So with so many different people that have backgrounds in fighting different issues, whether it's mental health or drug abuse or alcohol, whatever it is, we come together and we say, this is how we can help. This is what we need to do. And our CEO listens. We listen as a team, and we go out there and we help and we do as much as we can. And nothing is too big and nothing is too small because we want to get ahead of it. And that's one thing that I think that our board does best. We get ahead of it. We see something, we hear about something, it's just what we do. We find out about it, how can we fix it? How can we fix it before it takes over our community? One thing that we need to work on, and I think that we are doing this, and it's been said so many times, is letting more people know that we're out here. We are doing such a good job in our community. More people need to know. More people need to know that we're available to help their kids. We're available to help them. So many parents are out there just having the whole world on their backs and they're struggling and with no one to talk to, but we're here and they don't know. So we could be that outlet that they need. So we need to get the word out more, which we will. So I'm not concerned about that. I think I answered the questions. Thank you, Phil. I usually look to Phil. He has the answers. And I'm still available 6 o'clock, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is a struggle, but I get there most of the time. And that's it. Thank you. Any questions?
I just want to say thank you very much for all that you've done as well. You're really underestimating your contribution to the board. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
You're
Going
welcome.
back to my seat.
Next is Jimmy San Woodward.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to be able to speak to you. Normally go by Sam. Last name is Woodard with one W. It's good to be with you. I've been a resident of Macomb County for the last 40 years, originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. I was a chemical engineer for 10 years, and the Lord called me in the pastorate, and I've been a pastor here for 40 years in Macomb County. It's been a joy to be here. I've learned a lot. I'll start with can make the meetings. I'll start with the last of your list. Can make the meetings. My wife, I should have brought her. She's an angel. She would have flown in here. But we were without children for 20 years. We've been praying for children for 20 years. And when God gave us a wonderful, beautiful son, but he was very low on the birth rate, on the, not birth rate, but the scale of the weight of a baby, et cetera. And anyway, he had Prader-Willi syndrome, which we didn't know for 14 years. And Prader-Willi syndrome is an abnormality of the 15th chromosome, which is either a maternal duplication or an absence of the 15th. It totally affects the mentality, the emotional structure, causes them to die of morbid obesity unless their food supply is totally secure. Well, I tell all of that simply to say that it was not until he was about 14 that we understood what his situation was. It was an unbelievably difficult time of struggle with him because of the anger and all of the difficulty that Prader-Willi syndrome causes. We found, though, immediate help with Macomb County Community Mental Health when he was diagnosed and it was immediately given over to some of the programs in Macomb County Community Mental Health. So we've been dealing with Macomb County Community Mental Health for the last 20 years now. It's been a fabulous experience because they have helped him come to the point where he can be socialized, and he lived in our home until he was 26. And then the Macomb County Community Mental Health helped us to move him to a residence home where he has been progressed greatly. But I have dealt with counseling with people for years, and I have been very familiar with the struggles of our community as a pastor. And so I feel like that being on the board, I would be able to identify and be able to give help in all of the areas that we've mentioned here today. The Macomb County Community Mental Health is a very big organization. And I've been to many of the meetings here in the room. And when there is a struggle, it's amazing to me how even the CEO, David Pankatow, he came to me when we were having a very difficult time getting a placement for Joel. And David came to me and said, what is the problem? And I detailed to him the situation. And he said, we'll take care of that. We'll take care of that. And in less than a week, it was taken care of. And I was extremely impressed with the fact that it is not just a big organization, but it's a human organization that deals with people and their struggles. And I would like to be a part of that. I'd like to be able to help with that. And so that's what I've got to say.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
I believe that completes the list of nominees. Did I miss anybody? No? The pastor just indicated it's a big organization. I think this is one of the most challenging and hardworking boards that we have. So first, let me congratulate all that have applied for nomination, and certainly congratulate those that are seeking reappointment and our chairman, Phil Kraft. The process will be the vote will take place at the next full board meeting, which is Thursday, 16th. So again, thank you very much. We need a vote to refer to full board.
So moved by Perna.
I believe we already had a motion, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it's just a vote. I know, you're just trying to be helpful.
Commissioner Perna, is your iPad still not working? I'm sorry. Thank
Again?
you.
Locked up again.
Luke,
I
would you
know.
please help Commissioner Perna out?
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item is Southeast Michigan Council of Government, SEMCOG, executive appointment with board concurrence, one vacancy, 2-year term ending December 31st, 2024. Commissioner Don Van Sickle as our delegate. Motion to refer to full board.
Support. Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, I believe supported first by Commissioner Wallace. Commissioner Van Sickle, would you like to say anything?
I've been attending the SEMCOG various functions and events. It's a very interesting organization, and I believe I can continue to represent our county well.
That's fine by me. Any questions for Commissioner Van Sickle? Seeing none, please vote. Quiet. Thank you for your service, Don.
You're more than welcome.
Next item is department recommendations, request for outside counsel, prosecutor's office, United States District Court, case number 2:20 CV 10146 Joshua Van Lam versus Macomb County Pete Lucido and Donald Fassard. Corporation Counsel is present.
Thank you, Chair.
A
This
motion to
is my
refer to
request.
full board.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Perna.
Brilliant
All
advocacy.
yours, John.
Oh, thank you. This is my request for your approval pursuant to charter provisions for the retention of outside counsel to represent 2 county employees, 1 elected official, and 1 the deputy thereof. This is in regards to very recently filed civil litigation lodged in federal court. It concerns a discharge of an assistant prosecutor. He is the plaintiff. The case has been filed. The defendants are our county prosecutor, his chief deputy, and the county itself. The county's representation will be kept in-house in my office. The 2 individuals have requested outside counsel. They've requested separate outside counsel. I have to concur with the prosecutor's request as it is statutorily required. There is a statute in Michigan that requires the board to appoint outside counsel for an elected official when the prosecutor and the corporation counsel cannot represent the elected. In this present case, the prosecutor's office can't represent the prosecutor. They're not civil attorneys. That's a competency issue. My office cannot represent him because of the charter provisions that we've discussed ad nauseum last year, and because we're representing the county. And there's already been an indication that blame will be passed among the 3 in a round robin sort of fashion. The attorneys involved, Tim Ferrand, would be representing the prosecutor. Ferrand is an equity partner at Cummins McClory. He has at least 35 years experience defending precisely these types of cases. We have used him before on conflict issues. He is extremely capable. He's highly, highly recommended. The second individual to represent Chief Deputy Fassard is a local attorney here from Mount Clemens, John Perrin. He's a sole practitioner. However, his specialty lies in public sector labor law, and this is essentially a labor case. It has some federal overtones, but it's essentially a labor case, a discharge case. I'm asking for your approval for the retention of both. Case is ongoing. Discovery has not really gotten started, but it will probably within the next 2 weeks start heating up. I believe this will be a very long, involved case involving a cast of thousands almost. Questions?
Thank you. Commissioner Perna.
Can you give us some potential costs and what this could cost us?
Both, I've asked both attorneys because that is a very common question and it's a legitimate question from the board. How many hours do we think it will consume per attorney and what the charges are? Both will be charging $210 an hour, which is a bargain in today's world. The $210 per hour charge is in the 25th percentile of the Bar Association's latest Economics of Law Practice survey. They do that every 2 years. It's actually a wonderful demographic breakdown statewide, experience, region, type of specialty. $210 an hour is in the bottom quarter of what is commonly charged. So the hourly rate is a bargain. Both attorneys believe that it will consume about 750 hours over the life of the case. I think that's a high estimate. I think it's probably closer to 500 hours. And that's not per year. That is stretched out over 2, perhaps even 3 years.
You're talking $15,000, $20,000 then?
If it goes 750 hours, we're talking about $160,000.
$150,000.
158, 750 or something in that neighborhood. I worked it out a few weeks ago. I didn't write it down, but it's 158,000 plus change.
How are these 2 attorneys picked?
When we have conflict situations, I always ask the county employee, do you know of anybody that you would feel comfortable with, that you would like? And if they give me names, then I start talking to those attorneys. I'm not gonna hire somebody who's incompetent, who is not going to be able to do a good job. Tim Ferrand is a known commodity. Back in my prior employment with the city of Detroit, Tim and I shared cases as co-defendants several times. And here, we've hired him a few times for conflict cases. The prosecutor volunteered his name. I was all too happy. I talked to Tim, confirmed that Tim would do it, and then got the information, the billing information from him. Mr. Fassard picked Perrin. I'd never heard of Perrin before, but I don't do labor law. I'm a 1983 litigator, a civil rights litigator. I talked to Perrin a few times. I also started talking to people who know Perrin, sort of doing deep dive background checks. He'll be more than adequate.
Based on your opinion, these are the two best at this time.
The two best would be me, but that's just my ego talking.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, they're recommended.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Perna. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
In this kind of lawsuit, if we prevail, can any of the charges be recouped?
Probably not. And that's a function not just of this case, but most cases lodged against government agencies and entities, because your plaintiff, the little guy, really doesn't have anything to collect. They're almost judgment proof. This case was filed in very early January. I've already assembled enough information and files to indicate that the plaintiff is really uncollectible. So the answer is no. We might get a judgment. It's a nice piece of paper, but it would never be collected on.
Just curious. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. John, you said the total amount of billable hours approximately is 750.
That was their estimates. I'm thinking it's probably closer to 500.
Okay. Is that for each or is that total?
That's each.
That's each. So based on their estimate of 750, that would be approximately $315,000 based on your billable rate. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Every activity in the case is going to involve all four lawyers, myself, those two, plus plaintiff's lawyer. I'm fixed overhead. I'm the cheap guy in the room. I get paid the same no matter what I'm doing. I don't charge by the hour. So the out-of-pocket costs are just for the outside counsel.
Thank you.
John, I have a question. You indicated in your dissertation that you feel we are obligated to supply these attorneys. Is that correct?
You're obligated for the prosecutor, the
Right.
countywide elected. You're not obligated for his deputy.
Right.
However, as to the deputy, there still is the conflict of interest between the two individuals and between them and the county.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next item is resolution A, Resolution 2023-10073, a resolution to support basing a next-generation fighter aircraft at Selfridge Air National Guard Base. Chairman Brown, I need a motion to refer to full board.
Support,
Van
Lucido.
Sickle.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wallace, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Chairman, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, as part of the continuing effort, part of our congressional delegation and state leaders, we're just voicing our renewed voice and opinion on supporting a Selfridge Air National Guard base and the efforts to bring other missions to the base and economic development to the county. So this will be sent to all the congressional delegation as well as our state representatives, indicating that we, on behalf of all the counties, are fully behind Selfridge and the new missions they seek to acquire.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to channel the spirit of Commissioner Kleinfeld in the final paragraph. It says be provided to Michigan Federal Legislation Delegation, Michigan State Legislative Delegation. Those two words should be the same. So if we could change that, Kyle, to legislative. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Did you get that down there, Kyle? Great. Seeing no other speakers,
Thank you,
please.
Commissioner Kraft, for your diligence. The ghost of Veronica Kleinfeld lives.
See, now I wasn't going to say that. Please vote.
Do we need to amend the motion?
No.
No.
It's a
Okay,
typographical.
we just typographical error.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 2023-10085, a resolution to honor the Michigan Association of Counties on its 125th anniversary. Commissioner Wallace, I need a motion to refer to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Perna.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Perna. Commissioner Wallace, would you like to speak to that?
Sure. This resolution, I mean, it's pretty much what was said. But MAC did celebrate its 125th anniversary, and we just wanted to write a resolution up to just show our appreciation and show them that we stand behind them and all that they're doing for the state.
Thank you. In the spirit of Commissioner Kleinfeld, Commissioner Kraft, did you review that one? Okay. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 2023-10086, a resolution supporting county resources to assist in school safety planning. Commissioner Nard and Commissioner Van Sickle. Motion to refer to full board.
So moved.
Wow. I have a motion by Commissioner Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Wallace. See if I have any speakers. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next is Proclamation. 9A, a proclamation in honor and acknowledgement of Megan Dole's photography being selected for the Michigan Art Education Association Top 100 and Governor's Traveling Show. Commissioner Nard, I need a motion to refer to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support Lucido.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Commissioner Nard, would you like to speak to this?
Just very briefly, Megan Dowell is one of my constituents. She lives across the street from me, very talented artist. And she was just walking down the street with her mom and happened to take a photo of a house that had been sitting in our neighborhood. And there was no water on the road, but when she turned her phone upside down and snapped the picture, it showed the reflection of the house on the ground, as if there was a mirror there. So she just said, okay, I'm going to submit it in here. Didn't think she was going to win. She wound up being in the top 30, actually. And so this will travel around Michigan for the rest of the year. So I'm very proud of her, and I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item, 9B, a proclamation congratulating the Fitzgerald High School girls basketball team for winning the 2023 district championship title. Commissioner Nard, I need a motion to refer to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support Wallace.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Wallace. Would you like to speak to this one?
Very briefly, these young ladies have shown great determination. I'm very proud of them. Actually, this was brought to my attention by one of the new school board members, Raymond Deloche, he goes to every game, make sure that they are hydrated and everything. He's really been following them, and his youngest daughter plays on the team. And I just wanted to acknowledge the young ladies. I know we acknowledge the men's basketball teams all the time, and I wanted to let the ladies, this being March and women's, you know, everybody's honoring women. So these young women, I just wanted to let them know that we're thinking about them and we're just excited about them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item is item 10. This is our second of our 2 public participations. This is the opportunity to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue dealing with the county. Anyone would like to speak under public participation?
Yes, sir, I would.
Please.
Sam Woodard. Like I said, I've been a pastor here for 40 years and have become very concerned about our school libraries. Having had some parents who actually pulled about 100, and now it's about 140 something books that are illicit, they are immoral, they're pornographic with lewd pictures. They describe in every detail all that sex can mean between boys and girls, between boys and boys, between parents and their little children. It is absolutely salacious. And these are in the public, this is in the high school, we know for sure in the Chippewa Valley schools. Now, it doesn't mean much unless you've got a grandchild and you know that grandchild's going to get a hold of that book. They say, well, we've got a board that filters all of these books. Well, I say their board is no good because these books are horrible, absolutely horrible. And they are pornographic. If you were to approach a child on the street with this kind of material, you could call the sheriff and the sheriff could arrest the person. I will not read it to you. I've got a list and I've got the words in the book, and they're all the words that you know that you don't want your children to be a part of, or actions that you don't want your children to be a part of. We had about 125 last month and about 125 this month at the Chippewa Valley Schools board meeting to ask them why they will not just simply pull those books because they're already labeled adult and they're for 9th grade through high school. Just pull them and then review them, but no, they take a few at a time, leaving the rest there. One young lady who is a student at the school said that as she gave her testimony about what she had seen, that someone was continually telling her, why don't you read this book here? And it was one of those horrible books. It was listed as the ones that were adult. And one of the board members asked her later, said, who was that was pushing that book? And she said, a librarian. So folks, we've got a woke group of folks who don't even have a moral stature to judge the quality of books. It's not something that is banning books. This is withdrawing that which is detrimental to our children. And I would urge you to check with your children, grandchildren, schools and their libraries. It's not enough to say, well, the parents can sign a form saying you can't read this certain book. Because you see, the parents aren't allowed to go into the library and check all the books. They don't know what all the books are. And so it's not right to put the onus on the parents to have to try to find out all of the books that are bad and prevent their children from being exposed to it. And even if you do that, friends have got friends who can check out the books and then they'll pass it around. So this is a very detrimental thing to our children. And it even ties in as far as that goes with the Macomb County Community Mental Health, because we're trying to encourage the health of children. And this is so detrimental to children. So I would encourage you, the sheriff has been contacted, Peter Lucido has been contacted. It bounces around from one to another. Nobody seems to have the authority. And we know that when someone is selling pornography, the sheriff can be notified. And if there's evidence there, he can go and arrest them. We're not getting that kind of action. We need that. Our community needs that. We need to go back to being able to protect our children. So I just encourage you to do whatever you can do in your influence to help in the various schools. We also went to the Romeo School Board just the other day. and they've got some of the same situation. Help. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Pastor. Anyone else wish to be heard on their public hearing? Seeing none, we will close public hearing and move on to commissioners' comments. I will take the lead. I've asked our chairman, we referenced SMART twice in the last 2 weeks about the service that they have indicated that they were going to enhance with the millage vote, to please make a presentation to this board of where they stand and the progress they've made. We referenced them yesterday, certainly with CMH, with the availability of calling in and providing service. So I've asked the chairman to have them come in front of us and explain the progress they've made on that type of activity. Commissioner Nart.
I just wanted to thank everybody for pushing the proclamations through and for voting on the resolution. Is not intended to be any kind of political ploy or anything like that. School safety is very important to me because I have 23 grandkids that are in Macomb County school system. So this is near and dear to me, and the last thing that I want to ever do is get a call and have to drop my kids off and then get a call that I have to identify them. So I want to get ahead of this and really speak to these kids that are doing these things. I saw something on the news last night where a student was running down the street shooting at somebody. I mean, I don't know where these kids get this from, and I believe that it's a lot to do with mental health. And I'm so glad that Macomb County is leading the way in that regard as far as dealing with mental health. And so I just want to thank everybody for seeing that and passing that through. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to quickly echo some of your previous comments and thank all the applicants that we had today. Previously, for this position on CMH board, we didn't have enough applicants for the amount of seats that were open, and now we have double, triple, quadruple the open seats that we have. So I just want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to come here and apply and put yourself out there. It is an incredibly important board, especially now post-pandemic and with everything that's happening. And the emphasis now is almost higher than it's ever been. So I want to thank you all that are still here and that have left for applying. And also, if you are not selected this time, please try next time. We do this every year. There's 3 to 4 seats open every year, and around we go. So, and I also want to thank the chair for running a smooth meeting and asking my questions prior so that everybody had a chance to answer fairly. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Chairman Brown.
Thank you. Regarding your comments regarding SMART, I did have a conversation with the director of SMART earlier today, as a matter of fact, and he's agreed to come in, and we're working right now with his staff to schedule a time where he'll come in and give us an update of where they're at. So looking forward to bringing him back in. I mentioned the fact that it was brought up in our Commissioner Lucido's hearing the other day on the mental health issues and the one Preserve Independence would suggest that they look to them, and he was very much interested in providing services to them and wanted to help out, and so I passed along that information to him, and they're going to have someone reach out to them particularly to see what they could do to assist, if anything. They may not need it, but he was interested in helping out, so looking forward to getting him in here and getting an update, and I'll stay able to ask him questions about the expansion of the flex service that they call it. I call it Uber Smart, but it's really a flex service, and you could dial them up and take you to where you need to go, and with reliability, it could be a real positive thing for everyone in the county. Everyone can use it, so hopefully they're making progress towards that, because that's what we were banking on. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and thank you for doing that. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. I have concerns. We send millions of dollars to SMART, the DIA, and the zoo. And of course, we've all heard how the zoo was recently announced to go in a different direction than supporting a nature center in the county. I'm wondering where all our tax dollars are going. I know these organizations all have their own audits, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't audit the audit. if you will, or look into just how the money is being spent. Because I have concerns that not all the money is being spent as we would really wish it to be spent, or as it was marked to be spent when the millages were passed. If anybody else has concerns about this, please reach out to me and we'll get something together. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
I think that's a great question. We have scheduled each of these entities that you identified to come in minimally quarterly, I thought, to ask how this is taking place, but I would support that recommendation.
But still, they're just going to tell you what they want to tell you.
Oh, come on, Don.
Point taken.
Commissioner Perna.
I believe that the DIA is coming in next week for a presentation, so we can certainly direct our questions of concern regarding how the money's being spent. And I understand that some of our residents here in Macomb, when the millage was passed, when they have special events, our residents cannot attend, which is another question of this millage was supposed to be opened up all year long for all the events. And now it's being segregated as to what you can go and what you can't go as a result of the millage that was passed. So we certainly will ask some serious questions next week.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, we'll move on to the next item, which is closed session to discuss Macomb County Circuit Court case number 21-3482-N0. I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved by
Session. Next item on the agenda is settlement agreement, Macomb County Circuit Court case number 21-3482-NO. I need a motion.
So moved by Nard.
Support, Lucido.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 10-0.
Thank you. Next item is motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. Please vote.
Nard votes yes.
Okay, we are adjourned.